welcome back. This is our top 10 favorite films of the year, which somehow we have in
Yeah.
spite of the year.
So I am going to preamble this with didn't watch a lot of movies this year. Or I watched over 35. I watched exactly 35.
I watched one less than 50.
I watched between 40 and 50. I didn't count them.
This year is difficult because A, everything got delayed.
Yep.
And B, I like watching things with my friends.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we didn't have that for months.
Yeah, I know you were disappointed when we had to watch Wonder Woman at home by
Yeah.
ourselves.
I was like, Wonder Woman at home by myself. Cool, I guess.
We don't get that. It's like a communal experience with
Yeah.
people.
It's just, I like to experience things with people, and then you can talk about it after, and it brings it, it's an experience for me.
It is.
It's
I
an
get that.
art, and art should be appreciated with others.
I agree.
That
completely.
being said, fuck yeah, 10 good movies, baby.
I don't have a single film on this list that I would call a 10 out of 10, but I can at least say I would all call them a 9 out of 10.
I have
agree.
like maybe an 8 or 2, but
I have all
Nothing
nines, and we'll get into it towards the end of the list, but fuck, every year I've watched movies, I've had 1 10 out of 10.
yeah, The
That is
Lighthouse came
not
out last year.
Yeah.
Lighthouse and Parasite both came out last year. I
Yeah.
put them both on
Last
par.
year, my top 3 were all 10 out of 10.
Yep, and this
Yeah.
year, my highest is a 9, and that's really disappointing. It's the first time it's happened.
Yeah.
And maybe if we watch more 2020 films in the future, we'll end up finding a 10 that we was hidden.
Honestly,
that we didn't find.
I didn't miss many because not many came
Well,
out.
I mean, there's also movies we just weren't able to see because
Yeah.
of the way they were
Promising
released.
Young Woman. We haven't
Promising
seen that.
Young Woman. Why the fuck? Sorry, real quick. Soapbox. Gonna intro. Promising Young Woman and News of the World came out in theaters on Christmas in the middle of the goddamn pandemic. Fuck you.
Yeah. The Oscars. They're going to be nominated for the Oscars.
Put them online.
Nope. Only one theater for 4 minutes.
Actually, no. Oscars waived that rule earlier in the year because obviously, how could they keep that rule? There'd
That's
be like
fair.
10 movies nominated.
But yeah, that pissed me off. It was
But-
like the only other film off my top 5 anticipated that was coming out.
Yeah.
So
That being said,
let's start it off.
I am so ready to talk about my number 10. Because we saw it in theaters.
Oh boy,
We saw a movie in theaters. And
it's
it was,
Bloodshot. sorry,
What
sorry,
shit?
sorry. Go on, go on.
It was Emma. Me and Mud saw Emma.
Yeah.
And Emma slaps. Emma is one of those films that might be an 8, maybe an 9. I don't fucking know. But I loved watching it. I think this movie is really, really fun.
Mhm.
Again, thematically really, really good.
Yeah.
Because she is convinced that she's this cold-hearted, unloving bitch. And throughout the movie, slowly realizes, I like this guy and I'm a fucking moron. And
Also realizes that not everyone is enjoying her personality.
yeah, oh wow, is it because she's a bitch?
It's 2 hours of Anya Taylor-Joy just being an absolute bitch to everyone.
Hilarious.
So
This
good.
movie is funny. It's charming. I really, really like the set and costume design.
Oh my god, the costumes were beautiful.
Yeah, it's like fucking to throw it back, the favorite level of like really nice period piece costume designs.
Little Women.
Yeah, oh that too. And this movie, it's just enjoyable, man. Like from start to finish, there is no boring. There's no I don't want this part. It's just this one character going through her life, and we get to see her evolve from this rich, pompous bitch to like a really actual compassionate person.
Mhm.
And the side plot with the girl that she's like mentoring and trying to build up, that might be the best part of the movie for me.
100%. I
Because
completely
she's
agree.
learning from this bitch, and she's like, but I really love this guy. And she's like, nope. And then she's unhappy afterwards for like the next 40 minutes. And then she goes, no, I did this wrong. This is my fault.
Yeah.
And she like, it's just such a nice, slow character unraveling. And it's super satisfying and so well acted, man.
It is.
Anya Taylor-Joy, beautiful.
She's
Also,
a great
really good actress.
She's really good.
Fantastic movie. So that is why Emma stayed on my list over a couple other movies.
Nice.
Well, to get into my number 10, it's a movie I'm not going to talk much about. It's called Run. And the reason I'm not going to talk a lot about it is because it's a Gone Girl situation where
It's a mystery.
the less you know about it, the better it's going to be when you watch it. It's the kind of movie that has really interesting directions, but I'll give you the premise overall. The premise is that the main character is a girl in a wheelchair, played by a real girl in a wheelchair, which is really cool. And she has like diabetes, she can't move her legs, she has all kinds of physical ailments that make her not able to leave her house. and her mom takes complete care of her. And she starts to learn some interesting things. And I'm not going to get into it anymore.
Who is she? The daughter or the mom?
Sorry, the daughter, the main character is the
okay.
daughter.
Sorry, you said she, but it's two.
No. The daughter.
Hit me with them pronouns.
The daughter. It starts like I think 20 minutes in. She learns her first interesting thing about what's happening.
So I just want to say, my friend Gabby, out of nowhere, like unprompted, was just like, "Have you seen Run?" And I was like, "No," and she was like, "You need to watch it." And I was like, "Okay."
It's
and
worth
I haven't. I'll admit, I haven't watched it, but like, that's how you know. That's how I know it's a good movie when somebody just randomly in my life who isn't as movie heavy as we are, because we do this all the time to each other. We're like, you need to watch this.
Yep.
And maybe it's not that good, but like when somebody who doesn't watch that many movies just hits you up and is like, watch this movie.
Yep.
That's how you know it's a good movie.
No, I have the exact same feeling with some people. Sometimes it's really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Run is my number 10. I'm not going to talk much more about it, but I will say it was vying for my top 5 slot for a time of period. Now it's just barely on my number 10 because I have other bangers on here, but damn, this is a good fucking movie. Good. I would call it a great movie. I call it a 9. They're all 9s, but you know.
So my number 10 for the year is a comedy. It's Palm Springs.
Hey,
good movie.
That movie was so fucking funny. Ian and I watched it like the day it came out or like a couple days after.
I think it was the day after.
And it was just, it's so funny, and it takes itself the right amount of serious, and the premise is great. I really like how the story unfolds and how it's told. I like J.K. Simmons randomly showing up to try to murder people. That was hilarious. The character interaction was really good. I don't remember what the main girl's name is, but she kills it in this movie. She's so enjoyable. And I loved the plot twist. The plot twist is the best part of the movie. I don't have much to say because it came out what feels like forever ago, and it's comedy subjective, but I found it hilarious. Andy Samberg's hilarious. Of course he is. That girl was hilarious. J.K. Simmons was hilarious. The plot is so airtight and so enjoyable. Like, even like the one thing I was like, wait, did she do this?
Yeah.
Did she tell J.K. Simmons how to get out? Yeah, she fucking did. There's that one throwaway scene of her leaving a message for someone. That was her calling J.K. Simmons. Holy shit. There's no dropped points in this film.
Yeah. Very, very good movie.
It's not on my list, but I did love Palm Springs. That is an awesome movie.
It's also not on my list because I am talking about a film that was previously on a number 1 spot on my list. All the way at number 9. The Five Bloods.
Ooh.
I talked about this movie a lot in our mid-year, so I'll try to keep it brief. This movie is awesome. It is fantastically acted. Message is fantastic. And I love the character interactions and the themes. There's a little bit of flaws, obviously. It's a movie. Not every movie is exactly perfect. But overall, this movie is really, really fun. And fun in the, in a watching way, not fun like hee funny. The main, what's his name? Paul is one of the best characters I've seen in a film this year. Still. His interaction with the group and his interaction with his son and his inner conflict with himself and the ghost of the Chadwick Boseman's character,
Norman.
also the sadly ghost of Chadwick Boseman, is incredible.
Oh yeah, Boseman's in this.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And Paul, to me, is what makes this movie so good. It's all of his interactions with everything around him and even his interactions with himself, that inner turmoil of like, I did this. This is for us. Like, we should have had this all. It's like such a heavy thing. And everyone's trying to make him feel better. Everyone's trying to console him. Everyone wants him to be Paul again.
Yeah.
And he just, it's a great metaphor about how war changes you and how greed changes you too.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie really, really hammers home every theme it has, man.
Fair.
Every theme. It's so good, and I can highly recommend it.
That's a good pick. But it's not as good as mine, I guess. It's subjective. My number 9 is going to be Trial of Chicago 7. I'm going to wager a bet it's higher on both of your lists.
A wee bit.
Oh, no, it's not on my list at all. I hated that political garbage.
Yeah. No, Trial of Chicago 7. This is, you're right, one out of 50 Netflix movies that's not a dog shit pile of crap.
Though, to be fair, amendment to that, it was supposed to come out in theaters.
It was. It definitely was.
They just bought it.
Exactly. So Trial of Chicago 7 is an awesome movie through and through with a lot of really great scenes. Aaron Sorkin, we've all seen his writing with like his style, but to see him direct his own style is really spectacular. And I think the way he brings those scenes where it cuts back and forth between events to
And what
life,
they're talking about.
and what they're talking about, how it references the other thing, and how that like builds into the climax of that, culminating into this big, usually a riot in this movie, but like this big kind of sequence. Oh my god, it is so fucking good. I love the way that basically everyone, crew or cast or director, was involved in what they did. Everyone added something to the table, and everyone, I think, delivers. And the only thing that's keeping it from being even higher on the list is that ending was pretty underwhelming, where he read all the names. And I know we'll disagree a lot on that, but we can elaborate if we want to. But for now, it's number 9 of the year. It's a really solid movie.
Yeah,
We're
they
gonna
should
put
have
a pin
changed.
in that thought.
They should have changed the real life ending.
We're gonna put a pin in that thought that you just had.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool,
All right.
cool.
So my number 9, I know I'm gonna get shit for this one from both of you, but mostly Ian, is number 9. I want to be clear, almost bottom of the list, is Borat, subsequent movie film.
What the fuck?
I know, it's really low. It's
First,
really low.
you guys just hate Sacha Baron Cohen. What the fuck's wrong with you?
I know what to tell you.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Um,
oh, Bart's not on my list.
Oh, I'm not the one in
Whoopsie.
Oh
trouble.
no, he forgot. That
Whoopsie.
dumbass.
No, I wouldn't have put it on there. It's fine.
Wrong.
Boom.
Got him.
Yeah, hey, I love political commentary. I love movies about that shit. I love dumping on the Republican Party. All good things. And then half of this movie's still just the first Borat movie. And that's fine, but that's not what I needed. And that's why it's this low.
That's fair.
Especially the first half of the film, where it's like the father-daughter dance and getting the cage and stuff. And it's like,
Mud, didn't you watch this film without subtitles?
I also did watch this film without subtitles.
Might be why.
But it's just these scenes that just remind me too much of Borat 1. Just, I don't know, maybe it's just cultural difference, because I like the first Borat movie, and I've
That's
seen
good.
it recently. I saw it a couple years ago, very recently, so like I don't think I've changed that much.
Mm-hmm.
But something about it just being like a Borat film set now, I just don't find as funny. I don't
Yep.
know what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's because the world's really
I think
changed
it
since
has
2005.
the 2005 was a big Middle East boom.
Yeah,
where
I think
there
that's
was a
also
lot
might be what
of
it is.
issues there.
And also, I think at this point, maybe given the context of what has been revealed about America, you know, making people say racist things caught on camera style, it's like, oh, that's not as funny anymore. That's just sad. And also, it just felt like it was wasting time. It felt like it was padding.
Mm-hmm.
You
See,
know?
I really did enjoy the scenes where you're talking about the scene where they made everybody chant that really
The
horrible
song.
No,
thing.
that was funny. That's a good scene. I'm talking about the really, like, the first act of this movie when he first gets to America and he's just, like, bumbling around and he's like, I need disguise.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like when he's just still doing the first Borat shtick, the first
Okay.
movie shtick.
Fair
I
enough.
think it's also sequelitis where it's just like, I already saw this. Give me something fresh, you know?
Fair.
I don't need him, like, pulling mad hot pranks on unsuspecting white people and revealing that they're racist.
Yeah.
I want to see him pull mad hot pranks on Rudy Giuliani and
Oh,
Michael Pence,
holy
revealing
shit.
that they're
We're
racist.
bringing Monkey to Michael Pence.
That's funny. You know, like the scene where he storms into the Republican National Convention with his daughter over his shoulder.
That
fucking-
is the funniest shit.
That is the funniest
Yeah.
shit. But when it's just like him being like, I need cage for daughter. I need cage for daughter.
Wah,
It's
wah,
like,
wee, wah.
I think, not to predict, because predictions always get wrong, but I think this is an excellent time capsule, and I think it's going to hold the test of time to like look back. Hey, this is when the pandemic first hit. These are some of the issues that we were facing at the time.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's just the comedy just didn't hit me
Fair.
because I was just like, I'm just watching Borat 1 right now.
Okay.
You know, I just
That's
felt there was the reason it's this low on the list, and I know I sound like I'm bashing it. It's fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Not
It is.
even just that I missed some of the heartfelt scenes, because I still understand it through their, their physical acting. Even if I don't know the exact dialogue, I get what's going on. It's just the first third of this movie is just a bit too Borat 1 for me.
Fair enough.
You know, it's like if I wanted to watch Borat 1, I'd go watch Borat 1 because that movie's fucking hilarious.
Well, Ian, what's your number 8?
Oh, my number 8's fuck mud. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. My number 8's Onward. And we've also talked a lot about Onward. Onward is so heartfelt. And it's Pixar animation, so you know that shit's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. Super, super heartfelt. Ian is such an ungrateful little shit. Is one of my main, like, little issues with the movie. He still gets to spend time with his dad, like, hears him and talks to him and teaches them Morse code. So why don't they just talk that way?
Mm-hmm.
That's my one little issue with the
And
movie.
they learn that at the end of the movie, kind of. Not really.
But it's really nice. Like Pixar knows what the fuck they're doing. It's heartfelt. It's really really touching, and throughout the whole movie, it's a fun adventure too. It's not just this like. It's not just a heartfelt like oh feel good like. There's trials, toughness. Ian doesn't even get to see his dad. But he doesn't get to see him. He lets Barley do it because Barley doesn't have Ian didn't know his dad. Barley did and didn't get to say goodbye, and that's one of the biggest fucking things. You get to see the character progression of him going from this little shithead like, oh, I didn't know my dad and blah blah blah, blah like, and his brother has this whole pent up like, I knew him and I was too afraid to
I
go see
ran
him.
out of the room. He Star-Lorded it.
Yep.
Chris Pratt.
Yep.
He did it again.
Yep.
Now he's run out on his mom and his dad.
And
Got him.
It's really and Spider-Man didn't know his dad. Wow. Fucking Tom Holland. It's really 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 tough. Like that's a very heartfelt movie.
Yeah. I feel like
And
we've all
it's-
talked about Onward because of the top 10.
We had
Yeah.
a review and the halfway point of the
Yeah, halfway point.
It's just really good, man.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of again thematic things that are just perfect.
Yeah. Ian, this next pick is why you're a loser because I picked Hamilton as my number 8, and you have still not watched it. So
I've watched the In the Heights trailer a couple more times though.
Oh, okay, that's good. Hamilton is phenomenal. Mud, you've actually seen it as well, right?
I have.
That's
We'll
good.
get to that.
We'll get to that. Hamilton is fantastic. I don't know if it's my favorite musical ever, but it's top 3. It's so fucking good, and that's coming from a guy who doesn't usually watch musicals. That says something else. But I really, really enjoyed this. I would watch it again. It's just 3 hours almost, so I can't really invest the time right now. But
Yeah.
fuck, Hamilton is so good. I would watch any part of this movie if it's on. I'll just sit and kind of watch it. I have a lot of the soundtrack downloaded. I listen to it in the car all the time. Hamilton is awesome, and I wouldn't even call it a guilty pleasure. It's just a pleasure. It's so fucking good, and the ending that establishes the morals and themes that's been building the whole time with the play on words of "I'm not gonna give away my shot." That's so fucking cool. Holy shit!
And Bird didn't wait.
Yeah, like you don't really kind of realize what's happening while it's happening until after it's happened, and then you look back and it's like, oh my fucking god.
Jake, can I ask what's your favorite song?
Off Hamilton, I'll tell you, it's one that no one brings up. It's "I Want to Be in the Room When It Happens."
Yes!
Thank you.
Yes!
Right?
Oh my god, that's the best song!
It's the best song in the movie.
Fuck yeah!
Oh, I fucking love that song.
Thank you!
It's so good.
I like when he goes in the Heights.
In the Heights is great. All right, so my number 8 is very similar. Ian's number 8 because it's Soul, which is also a Pixar film about death. It just came out a couple days ago, and it's already on the list.
Yep.
Holy shit, we just did a review on it, so if you want to hear our thoughts, it's a little bit it's a little short. The review's a little short, but it's gonna
That's
be
because we
longer.
didn't say anything bad.
But it's also gonna be longer than I talk about it right here. Thematically, this movie is on point the entire time. Amazing acting, amazing characterization from Joe Gardner in 22. They didn't have the stupid jokes that were in the trailer that made me not so hot on this film, and it's Pixar. Like, I don't know what else to say beyond it's Pixar. They know what the hell they're doing, and they can make these movies about these complex things like dying and regretting your life and market it to children and be like, you want to watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's very
yeah,
true.
Soul.
Soul, hell yeah. Number 7.
Comedy time. King of Staten Island was my number 2 at one point, I believe.
Interesting.
This movie is hilarious. Pete Davidson is so funny. And I know Mud thinks his character is an irredeemable asshole.
I do.
But I watched a different Pete Davidson movie where his character was a more irredeemable asshole. Therefore, I don't think his character is as an irredeemable asshole as the other one. His character, I think at the end of the movie, when he finally goes with his ex-girlfriend to take her to her test.
They're not exes. They were just fuck buddies.
Well, I think they're gonna end up dating.
Yeah,
judging by the
that's
context
what's
of the
going on in
movie.
that
Yes.
scene.
Yep.
Is him finally growing up and getting that responsibility, and that's why I love the ending of this movie, and that's why I love this movie because Bill Burr ends up by fucking his mom, which he's very mad about, ends up giving him that responsibility. It's like the best things in your life can hurt you. The worst things in your life, quote, quote, can end up pushing you further. And it's great. And it's fucking hysterical, for one. There's so much dumb shit that Pete Davidson does in this movie. And by extension, we all know that one person that just still does dumb shit.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say the
And
same
we
thing.
even do dumb shit still.
Yeah.
Like, we all make fucking dumb mistakes. But at the end of the day, like, something good can come from them, something bad can come from them. It's learning the consequences of your own actions in a comedy. And at the end of the day, I think that's how I do want to learn about consequences of actions.
Through
Because
comedy.
if the consequences of my own actions, if I watch them and laugh at them and go, what a fucking idiot, I wouldn't do something like that. And then the situation comes, I'll be like, oh, no, wait, I don't want something dumb to happen.
Yeah.
As opposed to it being, if something's shoved in your face and you're like, don't do this or else this bad thing will happen, and it's just like not palatable to receive,
Yeah. It's
you're
like,
more
fuck
likely
you.
to do something stupid because it's more taboo. You're just telling me, fuck off. Like,
Mhm.
I think this movie has a good message and delivers it in a way that's palatable for where you can learn from the main character.
Yeah.
That moment when you were like, oh, we all know that one kid who does dumb shit. I just looked Ian dead in the eyes.
I'm not that dumb.
We're all pretty dumb sometimes.
We are pretty good.
My number 7 is Tenet. At one point, this was way higher on the list, and then I watched it again. I still like this movie a lot. It's on my top 10 of the year, obviously. But I think when I watched it the first time, I was so in awe at the intricacy and the technical prowess happening and the layers of the story and how they interwove backwards and forwards and stuff like that. I thought a lot of that use of that premise was really, really fascinating, and I still do. However, upon watching it the second time, I started to realize something. Just because it is intricate, complex, and fascinating to look at how it was done does not mean it's a very engaging movie. The main character, I think it's a bit of a cop-out calling him protagonist because, you know, it's whatever.
It's a little
A
meta.
little, very meta. But the main character doesn't really have anything to him. He has like 3 or 4 quips, maybe. So, okay, so he's a more serious character, which is fine. But he doesn't really have a whole lot of serious moments either. He's just kind of there asking what the plot is to people. And that kind of just kept repeating over and over again. And I get you need a vehicle for the audience to learn what's happening. But Robert Pattinson is a way more interesting character, and he's barely in it.
Yeah.
And then everyone he talks to learn about the plot, like the arms dealer lady or
Priya.
yep, and then her husband or whatever, they're all just typical Nolan hunks of cardboard that just tell you the story. And it's like, is there anything here for me to actually be like excited about besides the visual effects and the sound mixing, which, by the way, was only 50-50 because some of it was just really drowning out.
I don't know what you...
just yelling. Oh my god. But no, like there's a lot here to appreciate and love from like the same sense that you could appreciate how the Eiffel Tower looks. It's a beautiful piece of architecture. But I don't have a reason to be invested in the fucking Eiffel Tower. Like, there's no real thing that draws me in besides the premise and what they do with the concept. There's no... The movie as a whole... I'm ragging on it. I still put it at fucking number 7 of the year. It's like a number 9. But it's so good. But I don't know. Like, I didn't have that same level of fuck yeah when I first watched it. I think I put it at my number 1 of the year when I first watched it or something crazy
Even
like
I
that.
didn't do that.
Yeah, I was so ecstatically excited or happy watching the movie, and I watched it again, and it has little to no rewatch value except for the visual effects.
Mm.
So
Okay. I get you.
yeah,
What are we at, number 7?
7, yeah.
My number 7 is Hamilton.
Hey,
This movie's great.
yes it
And
is.
anyone who says it's not a movie's incorrect.
Hey bud, what's the best
Factual.
song on the soundtrack?
Oh, it's The Room Where It Happens.
Woohoo!
What a good song.
You know, I really like The Greatest Show from
Shut
that
up.
one.
The Room Where It Happens, just a quick tangent. You completely understand Aaron Burr's character in that moment, and you almost root for him. You're like,
Right?
yeah, I get it, man. Like,
Yeah.
these people are making dirty deals, and you have no say in
Yeah,
it.
they pulled no punches with making Hamilton an asshole.
Like, that moment where it flips, where he's like, what did they do? How did they persuade you? And then he realizes, he's like, what did you get out of this? And he realizes Hamilton was straight up fucking greedy, you know? It's a little low on the list because I'm also a historian by trade and, well, not by trade, by passion. And it's like, well, that didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Yep.
That didn't happen that way. I think the best example is honestly the duel at the end of the movie.
Mhm.
Kind of sets it up to be like this tragic thing where by the time Aaron Burr shoots, he realizes Hamilton's not going to shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in real life is Hamilton shot first, and then Burr just fucking plugged him, which is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hamilton was like, "I will be the bigger man," and then just bam, dead.
I love that shit. There's a scene in Barry Lyndon that's just like that. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah. So historical inaccuracies aside, this movie bumps.
Yeah, it does.
This movie fucking bumps. Daveed Diggs, I know we loved him in Blindspotting. He's fucking great in this movie.
Yes, he
Lafayette is just pure French chaos, and it's beautiful.
I prefer Lafayette to Jefferson. He plays
Absolutely.
both roles, obviously.
He kills both roles, but Lafayette, there's just this like bouncy energy to him, and he's just going a million miles across the stage. And he's doing this really good French accent. It's like, dude, I'm pretty sure you're about to set the actual theater on fire in real life.
Yes.
I will sit here and burn alive. I wasn't too hot on this when it first came out, and by that I mean 2016 when Hamilton first came out, and like everyone was like forcing Hamilton down your throats.
Same.
Now that I've seen everything in context, this movie's great. The songs are great.
You can tell there's
great.
a reason why it became a cultural sensation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Holy shit. And I love the way that they portrayed all these characters. And honestly, again, saying me being the historian, being like, oh, it's not that historian. I still learned things that I did not know.
Same.
I was like, who the fuck is Hercules Mulligan? I looked it up and I'm like, yo, he's a G. Why didn't we learn about him in class?
With a G fucking name. Holy shit.
Yeah, right? Hercules.
So Mulligan means try again. Hercules, try again.
Last year, I'm gonna bring something up. Last year, Ian watched like the last 20 minutes of The Irishman at Jake's house without watching the rest of the film, and he's like, "This is great." This year, I watched the last 15 minutes of Hamilton at Jake's house without seeing the last of the film, and I was like, "This is fucking great." And then I went home and watched the rest of it.
I watched. We started watching at the scene where he walks down the street and guns that dude in the face 4 times.
I love that scene.
Holy shit! It was the funniest thing I've
I think
ever
we were
seen out of
actually.
context.
I think we picked up right around the time Hamilton's son got fucking shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, "This is great." And that's like the end of the movie.
It is. It leads into the main.
The final fight.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Hamilton.
Hell yeah. Number
Number 6. It's The Invisible Man. Oh, I like 4 of these movies start with The.
Okay.
The Invisible Man's fucking slaps. Sorry, we've reviewed it like 8 times on this channel. Make it 9,
we
baby.
did a review, a commentary halfway of the year, and now. That's 4. I
Fuck.
think this is the most talked about film.
Yeah, it's also.
I'm keeping it brief.
Yeah,
Horror
I know,
movies are
too.
bad. This horror movie's good. Fucking MC Ren,
Dude.
my guy.
I think
Everybody,
his name's Aldous Hodge.
I think
the
so,
actor.
yeah. Super jacked, super talented. Everybody in this movie did a great job. This movie's ambiance and effect, amazing. The suit, weird, but really cool. I love The Invisible Man. And this movie made me freak, man. This movie was like, oof, what if he's there? What if he's there? What if he's there? That's how you know you made a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. And that's all I can say about it because we've talked about it 50 times explicitly.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And number 6 is going to be Kajillionaire. This movie is spectacular. It's actually, might be, except for my birthday, we watched Tenet. This was one of the last theatrical experiences I've seen. Post-pandemic, obviously, but it was in a real theater, not a drive-in theater. And
You can't say post-pandemic. Hold on.
yeah. Well,
We're
okay.
still in it.
But post-COVID's beginning and stuff like that. But that's just what I meant. But Kajillionaire is spectacular. I'm so glad I got to see it on the big screen. I'm so glad that this movie is as good as it is because it looked all right going in. I just wanted to watch a movie with, my girlfriend and just wanted to watch a good time. But it ended up being a really, really spectacular movie. I love the themes. I love the message. I love how it culminates in the end. And I love how some people just can't change. No matter what you do or try to do with them or try to point out the error of their ways, some people are just stuck in their little rut and they can't get out of it. But some people can, and it's those that can that have to accept those that can't. I love the message. I love this fucking movie so much. And it actually takes a lot of really funny routes to get that message across, much like King of Staten Island, which we were talking about earlier. But I really love Kajillionaire. And I love the whole vibe and aesthetic of the movie. I think the tone of, like, Evan Rachel Wood doing that like dude bro voice the whole movie.
Oh
Like,
my god, yeah, we were talking about that. I'm like, she's doing as if she's pretending to be a guy on SNL, just like that. Yeah, whatever, bro. Like,
yeah,
I'm a girl, but I'm trying to sound like a guy.
exactly. But like it feels authentic, you know? It feels like that actually is like that character's voice. It's not like an impression. It's so fucking good. I loved this movie, and I wish it were even higher. It were not for the next 5 movies. So what's your number 6?
Me?
No,
it is-
someone else.
Sorry, it is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom,
Oh,
Chadwick Boseman's last film.
I didn't get a chance to see it. I feel bad.
It's heartbreaking knowing that this is his last film. It's
Yeah.
it's very similar to Glengarry Glen Ross, and it's based on a play, so there's only like 2 or 3 sets, and it's character driven. It's a lot of talking, and there's just so many good monologues in this film that I was like, I like every time there was a monologue, it bumped up a spot. It's not a perfect film. There's a lot that just kind of happens for the sake of stuff
Yep.
happening. I feel it's only an hour and a half long, so there isn't much to it. But like the acting in this film alone
It's really good. Yeah.
puts it on the list. Like holy shit. Viola Davis is amazing.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman obviously is amazing. Even all of the supporting cast is good.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just a good film. Sure, the movie isn't like super deep. It's about, you know, artistry and the exploitation of black artists in the 20s, and that's really good actually, and it's very well made.
Yeah.
And the characterization's great, and the acting is really what puts it on here. Holy shit, the acting is amazing from
Mhm.
Chadwick, from Viola. I know I already said this, but I cannot praise it enough, dude. Ian, you complained about that like God conversation because he kind of just randomly snaps, and I agree, it's kind of weird.
The acting in that scene's really good, but
The acting's phenomenal.
it just comes out of
Chadwick,
nowhere.
Just spoilers. Chadwick pulls a knife on somebody,
Nice.
and it's like, holy shit, this kid's literally insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 6 for the year is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Oh, we're on number 5. The Devil All the Time.
All right.
I fucking love this movie. Tom Holland is great. Robert Pattinson with his demons voice, fucking hilarious, fucking amazing. He comes out of left field. You see him, he's like, "Oh, Robert Pattinson, what's he gonna do?" "Well, you see, boy." Dog, what? I was blown away by a lot of this movie. This movie made Jason Clarke look like he can act. He's bad. He's good in this movie. The side plot connecting to the main plot with his fucking was it her parent
Yeah,
or
her parent.
her parent getting killed, and then she moved in there, and then his dad going fucking insane, and then like everything connected on such a almost a biblical faith level of like it was the plan to have all of it connect. And that's part of the theme of the movie is like the religious fanaticism that some people hold, and some people hold the power that it's just wildly entertaining from start to finish. You get the Tom Holland scenes and you're like, all right, this is interesting. How is he going to deal with this? Because this is similar stuff to what happened with his dad, the sins of the father. And he handles it the exact fucking same way as his dad. And then you get the cross cut and you get fucking titties and Jason Clarke. Riley Keough, I forgot her name, so I called her House of Jack built name.
Go watch our Devil All the Time review for context.
And titties and tuna are both, you get that cut, and he's like forcing people to fuck his wife, and he's taking pictures and he fucking murders them, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? It's insane. And you get Dudley from Harry Potter bitten by spiders going fucking batshit crazy at the start of the movie, all fucking wild. And the acting is insane. Every single scene in this movie goes, where it ramps up and then it slows down and you're like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? It ramps up. It is the perfect pacing for a movie like this, where it gets you with all this wild shit and you're all riled up, and then it slowly burns, tapers you back down, and you're like, oh, what's going to happen next? I know something that is going to happen now. And it just keeps going, burnt. And she kills herself. And you're like, ah, why? And then it goes right back down. And then you get the whole thing. And it culminates. He's learning about Robert Pattinson with this other girl, the bicycle girl. And then, boom, he kills Robert Pattinson. And you're like, oh my fucking God. And it's a wild, fun, crazy, well-acted time. And this movie would be higher on my list if more movies didn't come out. Like, this could have been my number one this year, man.
It was
I
almost
agree.
mine.
It was almost mine.
It is such a good movie.
It's so good.
There was a point. I think there was a point where this was my number one.
My number 5 of the year is Soul. We just did a giant review of it, so I'll kind of keep this brief, but I just want to sum up and say that it's spectacular. Fuck yeah, Pixar. I loved every aspect of this movie. I was close to a 10 as well, but I stuck with a 9. And I really enjoyed the subversion. And you kind of understand, like, you think the movie's going one route with its message, and it goes to another, and then it goes to a third one, and it's like, holy shit. And then it kind of tells you that all are correct, but sometimes what you think is right really isn't the way it is. And it's just, I love this stupid movie so much. It's so good. It's so brilliant.
Just call it stupid. I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, you better. I'll fucking fight you right now.
Number 5 is CakeJamara.
Hey.
Okay, so you talked a lot about people not changing. I want to highlight the physical acting in this film.
Mhm.
The main girl, what's her name again?
Evan Rachel Wood.
Evan Rachel Woods. I don't know what it is about the way she carries herself, but just like looking at her, I was like, you've never gotten a good night's sleep. I could feel the tenseness of her body radiating off her. I'm like, if I put my arm on you, I think it would shatter from just like force of impact, because you are just, but like that's what her character would be. It makes sense that she's just this ball of tense stress without any real, like, you know, she doesn't even really have bags under her eyes, but it's like, you've never really slept. You've rested, but you've never slept. Yeah. And I don't know what about, like, just the way she carries herself in this film just heightens it and brings it to a whole other level. And the acting in this film's phenomenal. I really like every performance. I loved all the fucked up dark shit that happens, and they're just like making fun of it, and like the weird mommy fetish that is prevalent in
Yes, that's so fucking funny.
This movie has a mommy fetish, and it's very funny, but it's also very well executed, and you understand why she feels like she's not connected to her mom on any level whatsoever. And I really like those scenes of her going to like those like teen pregnancy seminar. I don't fucking know what was happening there, but they were good.
Yep.
The way that she connects with their friend and becomes like her surrogate daughter.
Yeah.
That was really good.
That was so good.
Oh my god, the full package treatment or whatever the fuck they called it. Like, there's so much like awkward shit in this movie, but it sells it and it makes it good. My favorite little detail was on the check. It said Old Dolio.
Yeah.
Her last name. So Old is her first name.
Yeah.
By that logic.
That's so fucking funny.
Oh my god. And like the opening to this film is great. The end of this film's great. Everything about this film's great.
It's
9
spectacular.
out of 10.
Hell yeah.
Even if it's got a really weird mommy fetish.
Hey, it's got some really weird shit in there in general. I mean,
It's
like,
got some weird shit.
I love that scene where Richard Jenkins is trying to seduce, I forget her name, but Jane the Virgin, the actress.
It's Gina Rodriguez.
Yeah,
It's
Gina
not
Rodriguez.
Michelle.
He's trying to seduce Gina Rodriguez in that
Purposely
tub.
to get her to leave.
Yep, but then she starts fucking with him. Like, all right, you want to do this right now? Like, this
Also,
is just.
I love how her parents are such clear fucking hypocrites.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't believe in the system. Hot tub.
Yep. That's it. That's all that. And they're all about like the next scam, and they can never not be. And that's so fucking interesting when you see that play out throughout the movie, no matter what happens to who. And even just her fucking name, they thought they could get like a lottery ticket off that. I think
Old
something
Dolio, yeah.
They named her that to get something out of someone else. Like, I'll bet you that that'll happen or whatever. But it was really fucking funny and really heartfelt at the same time. Sorry, that's your pick.
No, it's fine. You're the reason I watched it.
Fair enough.
I saw the poster and I was like, what the shit is that? Because the poster's almost nothing like what the movie is. It's bright and pastel, and the girl, like,
it's very toned down.
It's very toned down. And then you were like, CakeJamara slapped, and I was like, I'm not doing anything tonight. I was like, CakeJamara slaps.
Yes, it does. Ian, what's your number 4?
My number 4 doesn't have the in the title. It's Tenet. Fuck you. You're wrong. Tenet slaps.
It does slap. I said that.
There's some definite rewatch value here because you miss so much shit in the background. The first half of the movie is the second half of the movie, and then the movie's the movie.
So I'll be inverted over here because I also got Tenet at my number 4. I'd also just like to point out, we're the only ones who have seen it once.
Yeah, no, I would watch this movie. I would watch this movie like 10 more times.
Absolutely.
I'd watch it again. I'd watch it a third time.
The only criticism I have is some of it's too loud.
Oh, fuck yes, it's too loud. Jesus
Like
Christ.
the beginning of this movie is very loud, and the end of this movie is very loud.
It's funny because that's like universal criticism. Everyone thought it was way too loud, and they
Yeah,
couldn't hear the
'cause
fucking
it
dialogue.
was.
Yeah, like that's not even
I
like.
didn't miss any dialogue, but it was a lot.
Oh, I missed some dialogue.
There's some
That's the
dialogue
main
that you
reason
just
I
can't
wanna-
fucking. I watched it again and still missed the first that first sequence where he's
They're
yelling.
on the boat.
They're on the
Yeah,
boat. They're
yep,
trying to
yep.
yell at each other. I still missed
They were
it.
not yelling at each other.
I no the world was yelling at them. I should clarify.
Yeah.
And I tried like really fucking hard, and I heard him say, "One word, Janet."
Janet!
It's like okay,
And it's
great.
like, oh yeah, I know you said that because it's in the trailer.
It's the one part I can fucking comprehend.
No.
But there's that other sequence where they're in the masks and the thing, and they're about to jump out, and it's just
Yep.
like, it's like, god damn it.
I think this movie, on premise and execution of premise alone, is a yes.
It's so good.
Yes, movie is movie, but then movie is also movie backwards. Yes, every single thing that you're confused about gets solved in the movie later on in the movie. Just be fucking patient and pay a little bit of attention.
Yep.
Robert Pattinson is so interesting.
He is.
He's the best character.
Elizabeth Debicki is the best character in this movie.
Oh no, you're right.
I want to be like that woman on the boat. Free. Well, it's you! That's such a good
Payoff.
payoff for such an interesting character who has so much bad shit happen. And it's so interesting. And John David Washington, super talented. Super duper talented. His character, I can agree this character's not super interesting, but I don't fucking care. I'm watching Tenet. He who backwards, forwards, gun fucking
Oh
yes,
my
dude.
God, yes.
There's so much.
And you know what? Can I fire in because I'm also kind
Go
of
ahead.
Sure, I guess. Fucking no, yeah,
I
definitely.
think I can't remember for certain, but I'm pretty sure Nolan has said that he wouldn't be opposed to making another film in this world. So now that they've done a film all about the setup, they can do a film about the characters.
Hey, that'd be even better.
And you get to bring Robert Pattinson back.
I have been imagining in my head a movie in 2030 called Inversion, where the CEO from Inception who got screwed discovers the Tenet technology and tries to go back to undo and get his
There
company
are
back.
a couple of fan theories I've seen. I haven't read them, but they're like Inception and Tenet are in the same universe. I'm like, I don't care. They're both great.
They're both great, but they have the same tone and feel more than
They
other Nolan
do.
movies. But
Yeah.
like, what'd be interesting is that like that's 2010 versus 2020 versus 20. It's like a 20-year trilogy, basically.
That'd be cool.
So good.
That'd be so fucking
That'd be
cool.
really cool.
But I imagine that it's not important at all.
Whatever. Point is, Tenet's great. The acting's great. The set design is great.
And that
The
final
story is
that
great.
final fight where Robert Pattinson does it again,
And
and
then
it
does it
basically does it a third time.
He does
and
it
it's
3 times.
and it's like such a fucking cool, intricate thing, and you understand how he does it every time, just
Yeah.
based off of what you see.
The inverted rocket blasts.
Yes, dude. Based off of what you see him do, and then what you see them do, you know what he did based off of what they did, based off of what he did.
And, what
And it's like-
he's going to do.
It's so
It's such a mind
fucking
fuck. It's
cool.
So good.
Nolan really, really knows how to make something that's just super fucking quote, quote, confusing into something so coherent.
Yes.
Yep.
And
That's why I
that
love
is
him
why
so
I
much.
love Tenet so much.
Yep. I cannot wait. I still haven't. I know it's out in digital now, but I want to put on the damn subtitles for some of those scenes.
Same.
Wait, we didn't listen like this.
I have a word for you.
Tenet!
Tenet!
Dude, I can't talk good enough about this movie.
Same.
The last Nolan movie I saw in theaters,
Interstellar?
I don't really like
Dunkirk?
Interstellar.
You
No, I
didn't
didn't
see
see Dunkirk. I didn't like Interstellar that much. I know it's not bad, but it's definitely his weakest movie.
I agree as the Nolan fanboy.
It's like a 5 or a 6.
It's like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, that's a
Probably an
high.
8.
You're
Shut up.
you're slobbing some knob there.
Shut-
But this movie was just great. Fuck yeah. But with Dunkirk, I also heard that movie's too loud. So maybe
yeah,
he
that
needs to
movie's
learn how to
loud as
sound.
shit.
Maybe he needs to sound mix a little better.
No,
Maybe he's going deaf.
I think it's intentional. He's talked in interviews about like, yeah, no, people have suggested that it's too loud, but I've kept it the way it is. It's like, why did you keep it the way it is if people can't fucking understand it?
Well, Dunkirk, I understand a war movie being loud because war loud.
Fair, but even still,
But Tenet's not all war. Make it quieter.
there's nothing to really excuse something being too loud, quote quote. Like no matter
Yeah.
what the media is, if you're having trouble hearing it because it's way too loud, you might want to turn it down with like a remote. So if it's in theaters, you can't do that. So
That's
you
fair.
got to be conscientious about that.
So me and Mud talked about our four. Do you have anything else to add about Tenet, Mud?
No.
Bet. Number 4 is Devil All the Time. Now, like Soul, we have a 20-minute review on the channel about it already, so I'll keep this brief. However, holy fucking shit, the way the stories interwove with each other and how they created this larger narrative, when you look at the movie as a whole, when you back up from each story, it's like, holy fuck. This movie criticizes so much about religion and holding on to it in the face of things that very clearly fly in the face of that. And I really appreciate what they do with a lot of characters. Each character, I think, represents a different level of what one can do with morality versus like apathy or empathy, I should say.
Mhm.
And then you have like levels of like faith versus atheism kind of woven into that.
Yeah.
You have each character represents like this person solves everything only with violence. Tom Holland's character. This
And his
person,
dad. But
yeah.
yeah.
this person is trying to get away with a bullshit thing, like Robert Pattinson's character.
And Henry Melling.
Yeah.
And then Harry Melling he's just completely devoted. He killed his fucking, is it girlfriend or wife? Wife, because he was so confident that he could bring her back from the dead. Holy fuck. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's the false idolization kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's how you know he's not faking, because he fucking believed it. Like, holy
Stabbed
shit.
her in the neck with a screwdriver.
Right. That's fucked up. That's amazing.
And
So-
then that directly leads to the other fucking plot, and it's like,
Yes, I love the interwoven nature and how some characters are just killed off just partway through because they weren't the main character. Plot twist, it's actually about the other characters they met that actually killed them. Holy fuck, that's so cool. And that happens several times throughout the movie. I love this movie. It's almost a 10.
Yeah,
But
I
right now
agree.
it's a number 9.
Almost a 10.
It's so
Yep.
close. It's so good.
This is it. The podium positions,
Yeah,
boys.
number 3, Ian.
3 in.
I'm so conflicted still because I just watched Soul and we just talked about Soul, and Soul might be a 10, but Soul's my number 3 right now. I talked a lot during our review. I want to keep this super brief. Soul is one of the most visually appealing, hardest hitting, best narrative driven, best character driven, best thematic payoff films I've seen this year. Maybe the best one. For all of those things.
I love how it's so visually the best visually interesting one, but it's so minimalist sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's so like very very sparsely detailed in some of the areas.
Jerry's have negative space in them, you know?
Yeah.
Just straight up
I
nothing
love
in
that
them.
when they bend their arms over themselves, they're just invisible completely.
Yep.
That's so cool.
This movie hits so close to home on a lot of aspects. No matter who you are, this movie will go and hit you
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Go
And
bonk.
that is a good movie right there. Man.
Hell yeah.
A movie that can relate to literally every human being
Mhm.
on the planet in multiple different ways. And that is why Soul is a beautifully crafted piece of cinema. It's just
Hell yeah.
artistically, thematically, it hits you in a bunch of different feelings. You'll laugh, you'll get upset, you'll question your own existence in life. Every single thing is just there.
What you want to do in a movie? Laugh, cry, question your own
What you want
existence.
to do in a kid's movie?
Yeah. But yeah, that's an excellent number 3 pick. Number 3 for me though is King of Staten Island. I believe you guys have both talked about it already.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Bet.
That shit ain't here.
Fair enough. King of Staten Island for me is I accept it as a critique of the main character. And we talked about it in our, I think, top 10 so far.
Halfway, yeah.
Halfway? Yeah, we didn't do a full review on it, but I talked a lot about it then. I'll kind of sum up some of my points here. But a lot of what makes this movie work is how the movie treats the main character. Because everything the main character does, he gets really harsh consequences for because what he's doing is stupid. And he doesn't believe what he's doing is stupid while doing them. Obviously, he's just an idiot. But I love how towards the end of the movie, you start to see him grow and evolve, but he's still not there. And he even has a point towards the end where he's like, all right, Mom, I've learned a lesson or something. I'm here to come back.
And she's like, fuck off.
like, what the fuck? You're not coming back? Like, yeah, all right, good joke. You know what I mean? That's like the best fucking thing. Like, to me, that really hit hard. It's like, oh my God, some people, like, they'll get some, they'll think that they've, like, quote, quote, earned their way back into their old life as if, like, they weren't supposed to get the fuck out in the first place. Like, that's so funny to me. Because I know people like that. I know, goddamn. Like, they like, oh, I've been through this one very small challenge that's changed part of me. Now everything's redeemed. Like, no, it's not how fucking life works.
Yeah.
I love that. There's so much of this movie that I just appreciate every time I think about it. Like, and then you have, like, his friend characters, which kind of embody, I should say, the path he's going down and where he's going to head if he keeps this up. If he keeps going down that road.
You mean jail?
Yes, directly into jail. Jail or shot or arrest or something along those lines, or just, you know, getting away with it with guilt or something like. But like, I just love, and the execution is humorous with the wanna fuck. I love that. It's very funny the way they get that across, but I think it really balances the comedy with the dark elements, with the tragedy. And by the end of the movie, like you were saying, with him bringing his girlfriend ish to that place to take the test, I think like that's like the end of this character's arc, and now he can begin a new chapter of his life after that point. And he's not fully learned yet, but as far as this specific element, I think that he's really evolved and grown, and I think the movie really tackles that issue in a really impressive way. That's why it's like fucking number 3 of the year for me. It hits. I love it. I love it so much. Mud, what's your number 3?
Number 3, it's The Devil All the Time.
Hey.
This was my number 1 at one point in the year. This was the best movie I'd seen, and holy shit.
It's so good.
It's a good movie. The acting is phenomenal. I mean, we have a review. Both of you have talked about it. I'll keep it brief. Acting is phenomenal. Story is phenomenal. The way everything interweaves, as you guys have talked about, is phenomenal. There's not a single bad performance in here. Everyone feels so important to the story. The tragedy just keeps kicking you in the goddamn dick as like everything bad just keeps happening to these people. In our review of it, we said this is a really good religious film without being a faith film.
Yep.
It's not on goddamn Pureflix. This is like the Last Temptation of Christ. I want to see dirty, grungy religion where it's like, it's biblical. This shit's biblical. That's what I want.
I want to see plagues of fucking locusts.
I want to see plagues and suffering and angels and shit. Like
You don't see any of that in this movie, though.
You're right, but shut
Well,
up.
you see suffering.
You see
do.
plenty of suffering.
Plenty.
That's
what
the
I
film.
want in a good religious film. Not a faith film, a religious film. This movie was my number 1 at one point in the year. It was eked out by 2 others, clearly. 9 out of 10.
That's an excellent pick, as we both
because
agree.
It bangs.
And the best part, this is a little detail which I also highlighted in our review. The narrator is the dude who wrote the book that this book is based on. What? That's awesome.
That's so good.
That's so cool. Like, way to tip your hat to the author.
I didn't know that while watching it. I found that out after. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I found that out after as well. I was like, who narrated this? I'm like, oh, it's the author. Like, that's so good.
That is really cool.
It's awesome stuff.
A lot of it's just they either like don't involve the author or the author gets a cameo, which is also
like
cool.
They walk by and they look at him or something. Like,
Yeah.
oh, there's the author. Like, it's cool to have him like actually involved. He's narrating the movie
Yeah, it is really cool.
in the same way that he narrates the book because he's the author.
My number 2 is The Trial of the Chicago 7. Wow, dude. I know when you were talking about it earlier, I was like, no, I don't have that political garbage on here. Yeah, but I do though, because that shit fucking slaps. The thematic elements of this movie are so fucking good and so fucking relevant and will never cease to be relevant in America. And the acting is what brings it up so much. Sacha Baron Cohen and Eddie Redmayne, holy fucking shit, man. Those 2 characters alone make this movie phenomenal. Jeremy Strong, who I've hated in the 2 other movies I've seen him in,
The Aquafile.
he was great. This movie brought the best out in everybody. This movie it subsequently brings the best and worst out in everybody, obviously, because of everything that happens in the movie. But like, you see Eddie Redmayne's character go from this goody 2-shoes fucking little bitch boy to this angry, venomous person in that one scene where they got the tape.
Oh, the part where they talk about how he can't stand trial?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That scene is one of the best scenes in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It might be the best. Him and Abby arguing.
Oh, my God.
Holy shit. And when he's like, let me defend myself. And he does it back, forth. He's pressing him.
And then he breaks.
Oh, my God, dude. And all of the Fred Hampton stuff where him and
Bobby Seals.
thank you. I didn't remember his name. Bobby Seals, he's like, my lawyer is not here. No, your lawyer's right there. I'm not his fucking lawyer. Dude.
Mark Rylance's character.
There is so much venom and animosity in this courtroom. And you can cut the tension with a fucking spoon. It is so well set up. It is so well acted. You feel like you're in the jury.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you flat out feel it. And when certain things happen, they're like, oh, we got these 2 jury members. They look like they're nodding along. They have the book. And it's like, 2 of them have been tampered with by the Black Panthers. Let me guess. This one and this one? Wow. How did you know? It's so obvious,
Yeah.
but it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that's
the
what
fucking
happened.
point. The end of this film, where they're talking about the fucking list of all the people who have died since the trial started, you're definitely wrong. That
I agree
shit
with Ian. You're 100%
I know.
I
know.
correct.
absolutely the best statement they could have made, because they were going down regardless.
Yeah, they knew they were done.
They
knew the
even
whole
said,
time they were fucking
they even
done.
said, when the two guys that were there, they're like, why are we here?
Yeah.
You're the guys that get off. They
so
did.
that they don't feel bad about convicting the others.
Yep. That scene right there. You know you're going down, and you can make one last statement. And the fact that Eddie Redmayne does it, he's the one who reads the names.
After all of
His screw-ups, his trouble, his issues, him being a goody two-shoes, him standing up when the judge said all rise and no one else did.
Oof. That was a
That
painful
means
scene.
that's so good for the character. It's so good for the cause that they were going with, that they never gave up on the whole movie, even though they were going down. Yes, important.
Mm-hmm.
And based on true story films, normally shit. This one slapped.
This one did slap quite a bit.
And from what I've read, very historically accurate.
They
Only a
tones
couple
down the
indulgements.
court.
Yeah, that's the wild part. It's like I read a review and someone was like, "This shit's unbelievable," and someone was like, "No, this is tame."
Dude, remember the scene where they fucking gagged and tied Bobby Seale to a
Yeah,
chair?
that was actually over the course of 3 days.
That is fucking
Fuck.
insane.
That's fucked.
This
Yeah, it is.
movie, just yes. I don't
Mhm.
know what else you could say, but yes, film good. Like,
Boom, good.
there's so much here, and all of it hits.
Hell yeah. That was your number 2?
Yes.
Fucking hell. My number 2 is Bad Education. This movie is fucking fantastic. I love every aspect of this movie. This is like all the scenes in this movie with like how you write characters. This is how scenes should be written in a lot of movies. Like I feel like a lot of movies try to be this fucking good and a lot fail, but some hit, and this is one that hits. And oh my god, every scene, like basically after the premise is discovered that oh shit, embezzlement is a problem, you see Hugh Jackman, who has feigned being morally good, you see him slip and you see his true colors revealed, and you know it's based on a true story. Maybe that's why it hit me so hard, but like holy shit, this guy really did have this gay lover that he flew to every so often in this entirely separate area. Holy fuck. You know what I mean? Like that's insane. And then aside from that, of course, you have the main story where like a student
The girl is trying to uncover all of
yeah,
it.
yeah. The detective girl is trying to, reporter, I should say, is trying to uncover the entire plot behind everything, and then he just makes some very, very interesting worded threats that aren't really threats if you were to prosecute him in a court of law, but they definitely can be considered threats from like an audience perspective, and it's so fucking cool, and I love every element of
I
that.
like how he tries to get her to drop it too. He's like, "Yeah, you already got,
Yeah, you got what you need. You're good. You're good. And then as she keeps pressing, you see him then bring up
Yep.
things like, "That's a nice necklace. Where'd you get it?" You know, and then it's from all the fucking embezzlement shit. Holy shit. So, yeah, no, 9 out of 10. Mud, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is the last film I watched this year, actually. Right at like the 11th hour, I had heard vaguely about this film, and then I was like, oh yeah, you can watch it right now on YouTube for like $6, and I was like, sure. It's called Another Round.
Huh.
It is a Danish film starring Mads Mikkelsen that is about drinking. Specifically, it is about 4 middle-aged men who decide to test this theory, I'm going to use in heavy quotes, that being a little buzzed all the time is a good thing.
I mean,
Okay.
there are people
Okay.
I know subscribe to that theory.
Yes. The premise is this scientist, this philosopher argues that there should be a 0.05% blood alcohol content in all humans because that's like our usual limit or whatever.
So what does he do?
He drinks.
Oh, he does it on himself.
Yeah,
Okay.
all 4 of them start drinking.
Okay.
They're all teachers at, I think it's a college, but they set it up kind of like it's a high school, but it has more college vibes, at least as an American. And they all start drinking to improve their social lives, their teaching abilities, and stuff like that. And it's just how this shit hits, because everyone has different levels of tolerance, you know?
Mhm.
And eventually they're like, well, how about we see how much we can drink in a day and still get away with? And it's like, you're a fucking alcoholic now.
Yep.
And it's just this really good character film. Mads Mikkelsen kills it in this role of him just like they just slowly start until one night they just fucking binge like they're goddamn
Of course.
20-year-olds on a fucking bender. And it works because the film opens and closes with the kids at the school going on a bender. And like all the adults are like, oh, I can't believe these kids. They're all fucking alcoholics, this, that, and the other thing. And the teacher's like, yeah, they are. You know? And it's about how they each get affected differently. Like you see one of them starts doing drugs, implied, because you see him like snorting something. One of them turns into a full-blown alcoholic. Mads Mikkelsen's character gets divorced. Because his kids are like, you've been visibly drunk for weeks.
Yep.
But, you know, it's also like, it's also got these just beautiful moments, like Mads Mikkelsen using his alcoholism to like connect to his kids. There's this great scene where he's like, puts up Ernest Hemingway, Winston Churchill, and somebody else. And he's like, do you know what you all have in common with these guys? And they're like, we don't know. You know, they're shithead teenagers. And he's like, yeah, they're all fucking alcoholics, just like you. So funny.
Nice.
But like those scenes where he's teaching the kids and he's a little tipsy, but like not enough that he's like wobbling or like slurring or anything. You know, he's using it to relax and open up. And the reason it's down to number 2 is because the film's kind of a little muddled because they all stop drinking. Spoiler alert, they all stop drinking after one of them kills themselves because they got fired for being drunk on the job.
Okay.
And then they run into all the kids who just graduated who are on a bender, and then they start drinking with the kids. It's like, what's the message of this film? Up until that scene, it beat out my number 1 for best film of the year. I was
wow.
This is a fucking 11th hour trump card right here. And then that scene came up and I was like, wait.
What?
Like, I mean, like, he's getting texts from his ex-wife being like, oh, I miss you. Maybe we can make this work. I know you stopped drinking. And then he's outside, like, dancing with the kids as they're spraying him with, like, champagne. And it's like,
What is this movie about?
what is it? But, like, even with that, it's still a 9 out of 10. It's my second favorite movie of the year.
Fair enough. So before we get to our number 1s,
Honorable mentions.
All right, no particular order. Palm Springs, very funny. Would have been on my list if Groundhog Day didn't exist. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, really, really good. You've mentioned the acting. My biggest issue and what kept it off the list for me was the God scene where he's just like out of nowhere.
Where he pulls the knife on the guy.
And the fact where it just fucking ends. This movie just ends. And I understand because it's the screenplay. And I talked to someone about this yesterday, and they're like, that's actually how this dude's plays go. Like, it just kind of stops. And I'm like, yeah, but like...
That's not a good thing.
And it's like, they were talking about, Mal is the main character. I'm like, yeah, but we see so much of Levy, and then
Levy's the main character.
just
The fuck?
disappears.
The main
But I feel like Levy, with what we hear about him and his traumatic past that goes by too quick because the movie needs 20 to 30 more minutes, I'd argue that he is the more interesting character, and I want to know about Levy.
I'd argue Levy's the main character.
So with that in mind, I couldn't put it on my list. I love the music. I love the aesthetic. I love the themes because it is super duper important that these black artists and the artists of color, even if they weren't, they didn't get the credit that they deserved for their music. And a lot of early rock and roll is of color, and white bands just were like, oh, this song slaps, and then they did the beat and then just put words over it.
Mm-hmm.
It happened with Zeppelin. It happened with a bunch of bands back in the day. Like, I've heard songs from like the 40s, and I'm like, that's this song by this band, and it's like, oh, I guess this was the original.
They plagiarized it.
Yeah, and they got all the credit, the fame, the money. It's tough. It's tough. So I understand the theme and I love the theme, but the movie just didn't do enough for me. And the last one, I'm thinking of ending things. You guys are dumb for not liking the movie as much.
We will get
as
into
me.
that in our everything we watched this year.
we
video.
will.
Yeah, it's good. The movie's good. There's a lot of little details and just these little weird things. And the only thing that is keeping it off my list is the end.
Again.
Again. Because movies that don't end good don't normally go on my list. Because they don't fucking end properly.
Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. This movie is so fucking good. It's almost as good as Pop Star Never Stop Never Stopping. This is the next that for me. It's so fucking great. Every comedic beat hits, and it just fucking slaps the whole way through. And Lion of Love, I have on my Apple playlist. It's so fucking good. I listen to it all the time. It's amazing. The other one I'll say, Palm Springs, almost made my list. It was on here for a time, but the reason it's not way higher, even though it is amazing and funny, is I watched around the same time period the 9th episode of the 2nd season of The Twilight Zone with Jordan Peele called Try Try, which takes the premise of Groundhog Day into a horror direction. And it posits that this woman is being pursued by a man who knows everything about her and everything she's going to say. And it turns out this man has been trying to sleep with her, Groundhog Day style, over and over and over and over and over again.
That's the same plot as Palm Springs.
Yeah, same plot as Palm Springs, except it's played for horror because she can't escape them even if she dies and he dies. Because he's just going to come back the same day again and again. And this is the episode we see, the day we see, is the first time that he's revealing to her everything about him to hope, incel style, that she falls in love with him. And it's really fucking creepy. And Topher Grace plays the villain. It's so good.
Ooh.
So that
Yeah,
was,
he strikes me as an incel.
so seeing that and seeing the
I'm
concept
kidding.
of Groundhog Day done better than Palm Springs in that episode, the same time period, I was like, well, Palm Springs, it's good. It is really good, but Try is a slapper. And the last honorable mention I will say is something that just got bumped off the list yesterday because I just watched Soul, but it's Onward. It was my number 10 for a long time, and now it's barely off the list. It's so fucking great, and you guys can hear about how great it is when we talk, when we already have talked about the top 10 so far of the year, and our also review of it on the channel.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And for my honorable mentions in no particular order, I'm going to start off with Emma, because that movie slaps. It just barely didn't make it, except not really, because not many. Actually, none of my films from the first half of the year are on my top 10. Emma, though, you've already talked about it at your number 10. That movie's fucking great.
It is really.
And I just
fucking
wanted
good.
to highlight it here above anything else that I had on my list at the halfway point of the year, because it's just, I think it deserves more recognition than it got.
Yeah.
It was fucking great the entire time. It's complimentary piece in our minds, because I don't know, we watched them around the same time or something. Becky, the other film.
Yep.
The other one.
I think it's because they were right next to each other on our lists, both of our lists, Ian and
Yeah.
I, for so long that it kind of just became like a two-piece, even though these films were not related and are wildly different.
Yeah.
Becky, it's so much fun. It's very well written. Kevin James is a Nazi. That's all you need to know. And my last honorable mention is Love and Monsters, which is a post-apocalyptic film. It's Zombieland. It's Zombieland, but a little different. Right down to the main cast is a guy, a girl, a little girl, and an old man. Like, that's the main cast of this film. I can see how this movie would have been awful if the main guy had been like Adam Devine or something, because he does some Adam Devine-isms, but he's not Adam Devine, so he's a lot more toned down. And it's just a very enjoyable film about this guy trying to find his way to his girlfriend in the middle of an apocalypse. And him learning about himself and realizing that the past that he wants to get to, symbolized in his girlfriend, don't fucking exist no more. It gone, boy, and you got to adapt or die.
Yeah.
And he starts to learn that, and he becomes like a real person. And he starts to realize his role in this new world, because that's what he hasn't found yet, because he's still trapped in the old one. And this was on my list until I watched Soul on the 25th.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah. All right.
We are on the gold medal position.
Oh God.
Favorite films of the year.
And it's tough because a lot of these could change in 3 seconds
Yeah.
after I watch more movie, or watch less movie, or watch.
Or
another
just
one of these
think about
again.
movies at 2 or 3. I would even put maybe them at number 1 if I think about it
Yes.
harder. But...
Yeah,
That
that's the
being-
problem of my entire list being 9s, is there's a lot of fluidity to it.
Yep.
Yep. And that's a big.
There
issue
isn't
for
a
me.
lighthouse that just takes the spot and stays and goes,
Yep.
"Thank you, I'll take this position forever
like
now."
last year, it's like my numbers like 10 to 7 could move back and forth between 10 and 7. Like my number 10, I could easily bump Palm Springs up to like 6 or 5. Borat could go to my top 3. Soul could go to my top 3. You know, like
Yep.
it's tough.
Man, Borat could go to my top 3 too, because it's number fucking 1. Borat funny. Mud goes, "Oh man, I feel like I'm watching Borat, the first one." Fuck you, Borat's great.
It is.
I don't feel like that's a bad thing. You said that like it's a negative. Watching Borat? No. Absolutely a positive. The thing that bumps this movie above Trial, I think Trial might be like a better overall film, but for me, what bumps Borat up to number 1 is the absolute fucking weird shit Sacha Baron Cohen did. for this movie that no one else would have done. No other director's doing the shit that he did. No one's breaking into the national convention dressed up as the president with a girl over his shoulder. No one's fucking going to places and having them sing the songs. No one's fake interviewing Rudy Giuliani. That's not happening with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening with any other movie. He brings such a wildly real aspect to everything he makes. And honestly, I respect that so much.
I love this movie.
It's like people doing your own stunts. You know what I mean? Like you have an extra level of respect for Tom Cruise. Don't think he's the best actor, but the fact that he still does his own stunts and he's like 50.
The fact he straps himself to rockets for the shot.
Fact that he's going to space.
Dude, fuck it, right? That shit makes me respect what you do, how the movie was made, and the person even more. And this movie is the funniest fucking movie. Holy shit. Within the first 5 minutes, I had to pause and laugh and cry twice.
Dude, the Rudy Giuliani scene at the end, though.
Yes! And there's so much funny. America decided to have its first black leader. Canada did as well. Picture of Justin Trudeau in blackface. That's why you open the movie. And I'm losing my shit. And I'm like, this is gonna be good. And it was through and through. And I think you did miss a lot of the heartfelt stuff with no subtitles. Because I really like him and Tutar's interactions throughout this movie. And how she slowly learns that her dad's not a good person. Like, he's not a good dude. He never was. There's never a scene where Borat, model citizen, but when it comes to the relevant themes, I don't think it could be more relevant, A, because it was literally set in this year with everything going on. And B, they will stand the test of time, just like the original themes from Borat. Because Borat talks about homosexuality, because Borat, the original, talks about the not the original, the second one talks about the treatment of women in other countries. How we see Middle Eastern countries and their treatment of women, we make fun of them. We go, oh, they don't let their women wear this, or they don't have any rights. But then how do we treat our women in this country?
Well, we don't put them in cages.
But that's the over-exaggeration
Yeah,
of
no,
Borat
yeah,
for the purpose of
Highlighting
how we do.
Yeah, you're right.
Nobody questioned it.
Yeah.
The dude that he bought the cage from didn't go, your daughter's going to be in there? He went, all right,
Yeah.
this is a big one.
I think,
Like,
for me, that speaks to the greed of America, that people only care because that guy was doing his job, and he's like, all right, well, I guess this is my job.
Greed, hypocrite.
Yeah.
We're hypocrites. And the political commentary is obviously fucking hysterical and really, really well done. And I love that. But the thing is, like, the hypocritical nature of what Sacha Baron Cohen tries to highlight in both of these films is amazing.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. It's fantastic. And there's so much levity to these real world issues, but it still brings them to light, shows you why it's important, and that's what it is. That's what it's about. This is what filmmaking to me is about, especially when you try to do things with people who aren't actors, real life people. It's the scene where he's in the cabin. It's like, what's more dangerous, the liberals or the virus? And they're both go liberals. Like, it shows the ignorance of the American people when it comes to everything that's going on. Anything that's going on right now. And it hits the fucking nail on the head, because we all know people like that. Every single human being in America knows someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or is it?
No matter what, if we don't want to.
They don't have enough mental awareness to know that they are that person.
Yeah.
I think this movie is super well made. It would not have been made the same way under any other director. And I respect the fuck out of Sacha Baron Cohen for being an amazing actor, regardless of Borat 2. He is phenomenal.
Didn't they start shooting pre-COVID?
They did, and it happens mid, and he's like, "Oh, I know what I'm gonna do with this."
Yeah, we got to rewrite this so it's now about this topical issue. That's amazing.
And honestly, I just respect the fuck out of this man. He knows how to make something hilarious, relevant, heartfelt, hitting. Like, he knows how to do it all.
He does.
Super talented dude. Very, very good movie. And it might not be as theatrically good, like film, cinema, like everything good as Chicago 7, but I have an extra level of respect for how it was made, what he did, and him orchestrating all of this.
Fair. No, I
And
understand that
that's
completely.
what bumps it up for me.
Hell yeah. My number one is no surprise, Invisible Man. Now, I want to talk about this a little bit more too. It was my number one in the halfway point of the year. It is a movie that is very close to 10 for me. It's so close. It's a high 9. I love the fuck out of this movie. But whenever I think about this being my favorite movie of the year, I just get sad because, like we were mentioning earlier,
We watched this in February.
there's been
Know the Lighthouse this year.
There's been no The Lighthouse. There's been no Parasite. There hasn't even been a fucking John Wick movie where you can call it a 10
Or
because it's
Jojo Rabbit.
yeah, or Jojo Rabbit, or a fucking like a banger like that comes across and just takes you. Like, I love Invisible Man just as much as the next guy. If anything, I probably love it a little bit more.
I was gonna say you love it way more than the
I
next guy.
champion this movie as like, you know, the second coming of Christ. But even I wouldn't give it a 10. I don't know. I can't really talk about the movie. Sorry, I've talked about the movie 3, 4, 5 times for the channel already in extended sequences and extended videos. So instead of talking about the movie itself and why it's great, we all know why it's great. I just get sad that this is my number one. This is it.
Something you saw in February.
Something that's on fucking February that I gave a 9 is my number one of the whole year. Fuck. I don't know.
Truly the greatest and single most important tragedy of the year.
Yep, the worst part of 2020. Like we were saying earlier, like there's way worse shit happening in the world than movies. But, Mud, what's your number one? I'm gonna pass over that.
Well, you see, my number one is, it's Trial of the Chicago 7. God, where do I even start with this film? I guess I'll start at the beginning, which is the trailer, which sells you on the movie entirely. The way they chant just the whole world is watching, which they actually did at the trial. That's a historical thing, which, again, talking about how historically accurate this film is, just, it grabs you, and it's like, I want to see what this movie's about, especially because they dropped that trailer, I think, around the time of the summer police riots in this year.
About the
So
same
it's like,
time.
yeah, the whole world is watching. The acting in this film, you've already talked about it, fucking beautiful. There's not a bad performance. In our top 5 worst of the year, I talked about how boring Waiting for Barbarians is. Mark Rylance is in that film. He's the main guy. He sucks. This film, he's the main lawyer.
He's great.
This is the good performance. This is the good performance I wanted out of him. You know, I thought Barbarians was going to be like a character drama. This is a fucking character drama with Mark Rylance, showing that he is a fantastic actor because he is. Sacha Baron Cohen as Abby is beautiful. The Aquaphiles, Jerry, beautiful. Eddie Redmayne, holy shit, this kid, he's so good. Like, Eddie Redmayne is a controversial topic on this channel, I think.
He's either really good or really bad. There's no in between.
Yeah.
No in between.
And this is a really good performance from him. Like you highlighted, the scene where he just breaks down at the table because he can't handle being questioned. He can't handle the cross-examination. He's going to crack.
And Abby just goes, you meant
And Abby gets him, and that's such good payoff because they've been at odds this entire film, and Tom thinks he's better than Abby, and then finally Abby's like, no.
I've read everything you've ever written.
Abby proves that he's worth his fucking weight in gold in that moment because he is serious. They think he's just some stoner asshole, but no, he's here to stay, and he is fighting as damn hard as everyone else. I forget his name, but he played the Zodiac Killer in Zodiac. He's great too, as just like this older guy who just gets wrapped up in everything. Bobby Seals' subplot.
That is
yeah, same actor.
That just took me a second.
Bobby Seals' subplot, which, you know, takes up a good chunk of this film, is amazing because that is what happened. This movie made me more excited for a film coming out next year called Judas and the Black Messiah because
I'm so excited.
Fred Hampton.
Yes, that was
now that
so
I've
good.
seen him in this supporting film, I'm like, I want to see more about this guy. And guess fucking what? There's a movie coming out about him with Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, who are 2 of my favorite actors.
They're both so good.
Everything about this, and to get into it, because I think we're about to fight, That final scene where he reads the names is so fucking powerful.
Yeah.
It is it is a payoff to a million things in this film, which is what the final 20 minutes is. It's just nothing but payoff. But before you throw hands, I want to highlight the beginning of this film, the pre-title, where they're just rapidly cutting between all the
I
groups.
love that.
Holy shit. What an intro. It establishes every character. You understand the way it cuts back and forth where it's like, and we will always meet it with violence.
If I could jump in, because I share all of your passions except for the ending. That fucking opening, when it first started, I thought, oh, it's just a cliche exposition dump of newscasts. And then I saw how they were editing it and what they were doing. And I was like, holy fuck, that's actually brilliant. That's the best way you could have started it.
Shortly after that film came out, I was over a friend's house. And like we were just shooting the shit. And I was like, can I bring something up on Netflix really quick? None of them are film people. 2 of them went home and watched Trial of the Chicago 7 that fucking night. Because I just showed them the intro.
The intro to that movie is Sorkin at his best.
It's amazing the way they're just cutting back and forth between all the groups, all of the news footage. It's just laying so much groundwork, and you don't even realize it. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, fucking hilarious. I'll be fine. Travel bag.
I
love the way he says that line.
Snack.
He
is a great character.
Yeah, everyone in this movie is great. They bring it, even Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's not in it that much, he's amazing. He
has a change of heart. He stands up at the end. He's like, honoring the dead, sir.
They're so good. There's so much subtle detail and character work in this film that
he knows what he's doing is wrong.
He knows what he's doing is wrong. And I like the only one thing that I didn't like in this film is when Joseph Gordon-Levitt's waiting and the secretary's like, you're here on a big day. It's the beginning of a new age. And then they put the Nixon photo up. I was like, okay, calm down. So yeah, Trial of Chicago 7, 9 out of 10, favorite film of the year.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It is really, really
fucking good.
It is
like I mentioned, it would have been my number one.
I've watched it twice.
Yeah.
Oh,
that movie's long as shit. I've watched it twice because I needed to.
I'm pretty jealous. I would have loved to watch it again. It's so good.
It's on Netflix. No, but it hits me. It hits me hard, and it was what I needed this year.
And hey, look, we don't have to throw hands about the ending. We're totally cool. Just leave
Get the fuck over here.
Let's go. It's
2-1 about the ending, man.
That's fine.
You know what that means?
It's all well,
the ending's not bad. You're just dumb.
the
ending's not bad. You're bad.
You're bad for liking it or not liking it.
No, the movie's not stupid. You're stupid.
I love that fucking clip.
I do too.
Yeah, but yeah, that's our list. Hell fucking yes, that is an excellent.
Here's hoping that 2021 is all 10s.
Remember, this list isn't subjective. These are
objective.
Correct. These are facts.
How do you have 3 separate objective facts?
Shut.
No, fuck up.
That is fucking banger time. And I know I kind of wimped out when getting to the number 1 of the year, Invisible Man, but fuck, I'm still fucking pissed.
It's fine. Like the movies you want to like.
I do, but like...
I feel bad because my entire list is different from the list I had at the beginning of the year. And it's like, honestly, are these films better than the other 10 I saw at the beginning of the year? Maybe not, but everything's just a 9 for me.
Mm-hmm.
These 20 films and some more are 9s. And I just wanted to go, okay, I've talked about Invisible Man like 5 times. I've talked about Onward. I want to get something else. I wanted to highlight other films because these are films that not everyone probably saw. A lot of the stuff we saw on streaming services or other services.
Illegal.com.
It's not like everyone had easy access to films this year.
I agree. I have a lot when we get to the everything we saw this year.
My list is probably going to be a lot of obscure shit that I wouldn't have watched in a normal year.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that video coming up next.